perhaps Hogtown has become Swaggerville, Frenzy.
Yeah, looks like it.
They just keep signing guys. And Farhan Lalji of TSN has the Edmonton football team picked as the free agency winners, and he thinks they're the Grey Cup favorites too. And they got a brand new head coach. He joins us today on video chat, and I appreciate the Edmonton football team for lining it up. Coach Elizondo, we meet again.
Rod, good to see you. How are you?
That's good to see you, Jamie. Very good. Hey, are you in Southern California today?
No, I am in sunny Ottawa right now, so in beautiful, beautiful land of the north.
Okay, good. Well, it's good to see you again, Jamie, and we're going to have some fun with those walkthrough stories in a moment. But Lynch was just saying to me, Jamie is known as a good guy coach, right? He's a player's coach. And I said, yeah, for sure. But I'll also say this. The Rough Rider defenders over the years, Jamie, said that you were a wizard. That I just remember one game in Ottawa that you had our guys crisscross and running all over the field. Their tongues were hanging out, and they're like, we can't keep up with these receivers. What is this guy doing here? That's a pretty good compliment to get, isn't it, from defensive players?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I really appreciate that. But that really is a reflection of everybody, all the guys on the team, you know, all the coaches that put all those plans together. It's not me. I'm not the wizard. You know, I'm just really the guy that kind of organizes and orchestrates it all. But that's a heck of a compliment, and I appreciate that.
I've enjoyed watching the coverage out of Edmonton since you were hired, and the one thing that stunned me was that you were willing or considering just walking away from football and getting into life after football. Was that? I'd hate to think that was the choice. Were you close to not strapping on the headset again?
Yeah, Rod, great question. You know, I had moved on. You know, in my mind, when the XFL situation happened, it was, you know, you take a moment and you pause and you say, where is life headed? And, you know, I have a 2.5-year-old who's, you know, obviously enjoying my life along with my wife. And you just start to ponder a little bit, you know, what is life going to look like in the sporting arena with COVID and so on and so forth. So I had kind of gone back to some of the things that I had, you know, previously had some success in and been trained in. And so, and then this opportunity happened, and it's, you know, the way I've explained it, I think, one, I'm blessed for it, but two, the universe has a way of just putting you back where you belong. And so I'm very thrilled that the universe wants me on the football field.
I am in love with that phrase, by the way. And when you're good at what you do, football's going to keep pulling you back. I don't think you're ever going to get out. Sorry to tell you, which is probably fine with you, you know. But here's another one. We got a reporter in Mexico City who watches our show every day. His name's Armando Moreno, and he was the one trumpeting the fact that you were the first ever Mexican-born head coach in the CFL, maybe pro football on the continent. And I'm like, where's the headlines on this? As a diversity of strength league, like, is it just not a big deal? You know, and you'd prefer it wasn't a big deal made out of, or is that something you're really proud of?
No, you know, really good question, Ron. I'm really proud of it. You know, my heritage, you know, when I explained this to people before, I was born in Aguascalientes, which translates into hot waters. It's a place literally in the middle of Mexico. And my dad passed away when I was young, but we grew up in a tough town in the Juarez, which is on the border of El Paso. And then my mom remarried, and, you know, when she remarried, she's an American citizen. My dad was a Mexican citizen. But when she remarried, you know, we grew up in El Paso. So about 5 or 6 years, but heck, very first day of kindergarten, I didn't know a word of English. So it is something I'm proud of, because I think that there's, you know, on a lot of fronts, you represent a lot of people, and you mean a lot of different things to a lot of people when some people see the things that you can achieve. And, you know, so I'm blessed and I'm proud of it. And, you know, but at the end of the day, I'm just a football guy. So.
I get it, but it's 30 for 30 stuff. That's all that I'm saying. And I hope somewhere along the line somebody does something on this. If not a documentary, then for sure an article. But anyways, I got more, but John Frenzy's got some stuff for you here.
Jamie, John Lynch here. Edmonton, what I'm hearing, they're pretty disappointed what's happened in the last 3 years with 12 points, 10 points, 8 points in the last 3 years. Big pressure in Edmonton to win, so I hear those guys picking you for to win the Grey Cup. But you've looked at your roster and taken an assessment of the league. What do you think of your chances of moving up to first place like so many people are saying you guys are going to do this year?
Yeah, I appreciate that, John, and nice to see you too. I think football is a game that you're ultimately measured by results. And the challenge for any coach is saying, what is the culture that when we come in, and what's the culture we want to create? What do we want to be about? And I'm a huge believer that if we create the right culture, and again, it's not my culture, it's not my offense, it's something that we do collectively. And culture is something that you don't just set and then move on from. It's something you do every day. And so if we feel like if we set the right culture as a team, as an organization, that we're going to be able to build on the things that are already great in Edmonton, the history, the tradition. Brock has done a great job of assembling the team that he has. There's a lot of components in place for us to be successful, but it's all going to come down to trusting the process. I'm a big believer in that there's a way you do things. There's a way you game plan. There's a way you communicate. There's a way players treat everybody else in the building. There's a way we handle our locker room. For me, it's something as little as picking up trash and everybody doing that, to the way we communicate with the people that help us and feed us every day. All of those things go into being a championship team. So culture is not an afterthought. It really is something that you spend a lot of time on repeatedly trying to build. And that's what we're going to try to do. And if we're able to do those things, then hopefully the results will follow.
Years ago, Jaime, I used to think those were just words. And then we had guys come in and they did that. They said that and they did it and we won. And I'm like, oh, it does work. It's a mindset. Some people have it, some don't. And by the way, I'm going to do Armando a solid here. He's in Mexico City right now, and he says, Coach Elizondo has a Mexican wide receiver in Edmonton called Diego Villamontes. What does he think about the league's global initiative?
I love it. And Armando, thank you for that. I was fortunate enough to go down in 2019 in January to the CFL combine in Mexico and be a part of that transition and see that first process, that first step of that happening. I think it's great that the more kids throughout the world that can play football is an awesome thing, because it is still ultimately, in my opinion, the best team game. The lessons that you learn on a football field, the sacrifices that you make, the connections that you make, the learning how to deal with different people. And here's what the thing that to me is the most unique of all things with football. There's not 164 games or 84 games like there are in other sports. You have limited opportunities to step on a football field in a season. And so everything matters a little bit more. So if we can translate this into teaching this game and the principles of this game on a global scale, I think it's fantastic, and I'm on board for that. So, Armando, muchas gracias, un placer, y ojalá nos vemos pronto.
Hey, there you go. Una más, por favor. Mi esposa e dinero. I know that one. My wife has the money. I learned that one fast.
Mine too, Rod. So I'm right there with you.
I learned that one on Fifth Avenue in Playdale, Carmen. Jordan in Ottawa says, congrats, Jaime, on the opportunity in Edmonton. Jordan's Lamislock, by the way. He says, can't wait to see you back coaching and coaching guys you're familiar with. We'll have to do an interview when you're in Ottawa for a road game. That's from young Jordan's Lamislock. And I'll just say this before I let you go. I've had so much fun with those incidents with the Ottawa walkthrough. And I was just having fun. What was your side of tossing me out of those Red Blacks? Because people still talk about it, by the way.
I want to see this.
Rod, it wouldn't matter if it was you or somebody else. We just tried to keep everything in-house and keep it protected. So I love the fact that you are gracious about it and awesome about it. Not everybody that I've thrown out or asked kindly, to step out of that arena during those walkthroughs has handled it as wonderfully as you. So with the humor that you did. So I appreciate that. And, it's a small league. Right, so I think everybody throughout the league tries to protect their football, but I do appreciate your humor in it.
Well, as I recall, I remember saying it was national news, and I remember saying I've been kicked out of far classier places than this. But I also remember my role in it was I was standing on the edge of the end zone taking pictures of the north side grandstand, and you turned to me and you're like, really? And I never honestly stopped to think about your players and formations I'd never even stopped to think about it, Jaime. So I wanted to tell you that, by the way. My intentions were not untoward. How about that?
I know that about you, and I appreciate that. So, sometimes in the middle of big games, right, coaches, obviously, get protective and emotional there. But no harm, no foul. We're in good shape, and I appreciate seeing you again.
It wasn't a big game. It was only the Eastern semifinal. No, nothing big there at all. Craig, or from our producer, Clark, says, what does Jaime think of Edmonton's offensive group right now? Wilder, Harris, Ellingson, etc.
Wilder's gone.
Yeah, it's the tools are there, the pieces are there. How we come together as a team, how we come together as a group of men, how we handle. And I know every coach, throughout the CFL talking about this, and there's so many good coaches in the CFL, but it's really the team that handles adversity the best. And that'll be our challenge when we drop 2 games in a row. Hopefully we don't, but if we do, how do we handle that? How do we handle the ups and downs of an emotional win or an emotional loss? Can we stay even keeled when we have success? Can we embrace adversity when it comes our way? Those are the things that all the talent in the world it has to be kind of factored into. How we handle those situations as a team. Are we going to do that collectively as a whole? Are we going to do that as individuals? And that's what we're going to try to build and spend a lot of our time focusing on.
Well, I was happy when the news release came across that Edmonton had hired you, Jaime, because this league needs the best coaches, and you filled that void. So all the best getting onto the field and building this team, and thanks for the time today.
Rod, thank you. And until I get a chance to throw you out of another walkthrough, I hope you're doing great.
There you go. It will happen. It will happen. Thanks, Coach. Coach Jaime Elizondo, the Edmonton football team, joining us from the nation's capital. And there you go, Frenzy.
Yeah, very interesting.
One of the great guys.
Yeah, it seems like it.
And he's the kind of guy that you need in the Canadian Football League.
Sure do.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.